Hello and welcome back to Project 380. In this video I'll be installing some suspension spacers from Jass Performance. So the Mark II is up and running, I've sorted out all the leaks it had, and now I've got to get it ready for an alignment. Because I don't want to continue with any of the bodywork until the alignment's done. If the wheels end up catching the arches, I'm not going to be happy. But before I send the car off for an alignment, I need to sort the ride height out. And this is where these suspension spacers from Jass Performance come in. I've got a little issue with the car and hopefully these will solve it. So I've just rested the body kit on the car for now, and as you can see the front end is sitting a little bit too low and the rear end is sitting a little bit too high. Looking at the side skirt here, the front is almost touching the floor and the back is a decent usable height. So I think the rear needs to go down just a smidge and the front needs to go up a fair bit. But I've got a little concern with the front, so I've just whipped that body kit off quickly, but my concern is the front coilovers. So as you can see I've got them wound up a fair bit, but obviously I want to go a little bit higher. We can see in this little hole here, I can see just the bottom of the thread of that coilover. What I don't want to do is wind that coilover up and there not be enough threads in the bottom of the body to make this safe. So that is where this Jass Performance suspension spacer comes in. This goes on top of that coilover between the top mount and the chassis, pushing that coilover down slightly, giving me a higher ride height. Jass Performance make two variations of this spacer, a 3mm spacer and an 8mm spacer. The 3mm one will raise your car about 7.5mm. And the 8mm should raise it about 18mm. Now an 8mm spacer is about as far as you could go. If you're running a strut brace, the amount of thread left on the stud that's on your suspension is only about 8mm. So if we put in a spacer bigger than 8mm, that's going to be a little bit unsafe, as the nuts that hold the top of the suspension in won't be gripping on a lot of thread. So 8mm is the maximum. So let's get these installed and see what a difference it makes. So we need to get the car jacked up on some axle stands and get those wheels off. All jacked up safely on some axle stands now, and the wheels are off the car. Now we just need to remove the two nuts holding the suspension to the chassis. That's the two nuts off and the suspension has dropped slightly. So we now need to force that suspension downwards and get the spacer on top of the top mount in between the chassis there. If you're struggling to push your suspension down, it's a good idea to do both sides at the same time and remove the drop links. This is going to allow the suspension to travel down a little bit further and a bit easier. I've already removed the drop link from the other side, so this side should be nice and free. Now I can slide this spacer up above there. Make sure it's sitting on them two studs nicely and push the suspension back up into its home. The spacer's sitting up there nicely now. It's the perfect size for an MX5 top mount, and the two top mount nuts are nice and tight now. You can really see why 8mm spacer is the largest you could go, as you can only just see the thread on that nut, but we now know that is nice and safe. So I've just got the other side to do quickly. That is both sides all done now. The drop link back on and the wheels back on. It's time to get this back down on the floor, the body kit back on the car, and see what a difference this has made. Back on the floor now, body kit's not on, and I can already see what a difference they've made. Yep, that's definitely given it a good bit of lift to the front end. Compared to what it was before, I'm a lot happier now. That front end's still got to go up a little bit, and the back's got to go down, but I'm a lot happier now knowing that that front suspension is going to be safe, rather than that coilover being held on by just a few threads. When you install these suspension spacers, you will need to get the car realigned afterwards. Because of the change in ride height, this will change your geometry, so make sure you get an alignment to make it safe and the most out of your tyres. Now, as I said a minute ago, the ride height isn't exactly where I want it, so I'm going to be playing with the ride height off of camera, trying to get exactly what I want before I send the car for an alignment. So that's all for this video. If this video helped you install the Jass Performance suspension spacers, let me know in the comments down below. The link for the spacers are in the description. As per usual, like, comment, share and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.